Yep. That wraps up all of our Jets talk right there. We're going to get to one final topic. I always kind of like to, bring in an extra little topic when we talk about these, teams. So, most underrated team in 2020, in my opinion, I think it's the Washington Redskins. I really do. And the reason why I think they're the most underrated is because a lot of people think this team is absolute garbage. And I just don't see it. I don't understand the pushback. I know Giants fans are going to be mad at me for making this video. I know people are going to say, it's the Redskins. They're not that good. And I disagree. I don't understand the pushback. Las Vegas, the Vegas odds has the Redskins finishing as potentially the second worst team in the NFL by the Jaguars, and I just totally disagree. Ron Rivera, I believe, is going to turn this team around. He's a great head coach. He's been to a Super Bowl in the past, and when he got to Carolina, he immediately sparked that team. They were a 6-10 team. When he was in Carolina, when he first got there his first season, and I do think the Redskins actually can, double their win total from this past year. I felt it was a very rough season, but I think this team is talented enough to win 6 or 7, maybe 8 games. Now, their schedule is very tough, so I'm not going to go as far as saying they're going to win 8 games, but I'm more around the 6 or 7 win range. I really am. And listen, Jack Del Rio is a great addition to this team. He's going to be the defensive coordinator. He's turned around a lot of great defenses. He's an excellent defensive mind, and he will get the most out of those 4 first-rounders on the defensive line, in my opinion. And Chase Young, Redskins fans, you had a rough season, but you got Chase Young as a result. This guy is a generational talent at the pass rushing position. I think that he's an even better prospect than Nick Bosa was, and I even made a video comparing him to Lawrence Taylor in the past. I think that he's going to have that big of an impact. He has 21 tackles for a loss, 16 and a half sacks, his final season at Ohio State. He's just everything you look for in an edge rusher. He's going to change that defense, I do believe. And like I said, you got 3 other first rounders on the defensive line to go with him. You added Kendall Fuller to the secondary. Ronald Darby's not bad. He was added as well. He's had his struggles in Philadelphia, but he's still a solid player. Fabian Moreau's an okay player. Their linebackers are better than people realize, in my opinion. Not to mention, you got 3 really good running backs with Darius Guice. Hopefully he stays healthy, but when he's on the field, he's very good. Adrian Peterson is still a starting running back. And Antonio Gibson, he can be the Paris Campbell of that offense. I reference Paris Campbell because when Dwayne Haskins was at Ohio State, Paris Campbell was more of your H-back, the guy that you could throw the ball to out of the backfield. He can get vertical. He's just overall a great, versatile offensive player that Haskins is really going to like. And listen, I think the Redskins quietly have done a good job of surrounding Dwayne Haskins with some solid weapons. Terry McLaurin, I believe he has all the talent in the world. Steven Sims, he got more playing time at the end of the year. He's a big play threat. He has 4.3 speed. Kelvin Harmon, he was very talented. He was a very talented player out of NC State. He played better at the end of the season. Antonio Gandy Golden, he's a very solid player out of Liberty. So Haskins has some pass catchers to work with. Now, I do worry about the offensive line, but I think the offensive line will be a little bit better. Hopefully, Sadiq Charles pans out. And listen, I know Dwayne Haskins had a bad rookie season. I thought that he was arguably one of the best quarterbacks in that draft, in the 2019 draft class. But I still believe in Dwayne Haskins. Post Jay Gruden, when Jay Gruden got out that building, because Jay Gruden didn't want him. He threw 7 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. The final 3 games of the season, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. The second best pass rating in the NFL behind Drew Brees. All Dwayne Haskins really has to do is just be a guy that doesn't screw things up. Just don't turn the ball over. Make the excellent throws you made at Ohio State. And I believe this Redskins team can be great. And I do believe Dwayne Haskins has the arm talent, the accuracy, the swagger. He has all the physical tools to turn this team around. He's got the arm talent. I see a top 10 quarterback when he pans out. So that's my most underrated team in football this upcoming season, simply because people think this Redskins team is garbage, and I totally disagree. Who's your most underrated team?
First of all, I do agree the Redskins are definitely an underrated team. I remember you and I both liking the Ron Rivera hire when it happened. We were both very high on it. I think it really comes down to Dwayne Haskins for them and how much he improves. I think he will improve this season, and he's got the talent around him. My underrated team is the Indianapolis Colts. There's a lot of talk about the Texans and the Titans because Titans made it to the AFC Championship game. I don't hear a lot about the Colts. They have a very good team. They are very well run. The Philip Rivers signing, is very underrated in my opinion. He's still a good quarterback. He didn't have a lot going well for him in LA. Now, in Indianapolis, he's got arguably one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. His weapons they're not terrible by any means. He's got a solid running back core around him, and the coaches that he has, he already knows. He knows Frank Reich and the offensive coordinator Nick Sane. I can't remember the guy's last name, but they were all with the Chargers at one point with him. So he's got that camaraderie there, and then the defense is still really good. This is pretty sound defense, in my opinion. I think the Colts, they are a very well-run team, a very well-put-together team. Chris Ballard has done a phenomenal job putting that team together. So, and I believe the division is more open than some people might realize. The Texans, I don't trust the Texans. I like Deshaun Watson, but Bill O'Brien has destroyed that team. The things he's done has been mind-boggling to me. I don't get what he's doing. I don't think he knows how to run a football team. So I don't trust the Texans. The Titans, I don't see them making it back to the AFC Championship game. We'll have to see what Ryan Tannehill does in his second year as a starter. Derrick Henry's still going to be really good. But I think I got the Colts winning the AFC South. I'm really high on this team. And you figure before Andrew Luck just up and retired, they were a potential Super Bowl team. Well, I remember a lot of people talking about them possibly being a Super Bowl contender. And then Andrew Luck retired out of the blue. And then everything kind of went downhill from there. Jacoby Brissett was all right for a few games. I think Philip Rivers will be a lot better this year and will be a lot better fit for the Colts. So that signing right there really makes me believe that the Colts will win the division, making them my wild card or dark horse type team.
I'm not sold on the Colts simply because of their quarterback. Now, I'm not going to go out here and say Philip Rivers is terrible by any stretch of the matter. He still has some value in the NFL. You know, he's a very smart quarterback. He's seen all the defenses, but I just don't see it with Philip Rivers. You could talk about the offensive line was bad in San Diego. At the time, it was Los Angeles or San Diego. I forget which one it was this past year. But yeah, the Chargers. Los Angeles. You get it. It's the Chargers. Yeah, I mean, but he had a lot of weapons. He had Keenan Allen. He had Mike Williams. He had some solid targets to throw to. And I just don't see it. I think that the fact that he is familiar with the system will help him. And the Colts, they're going to run the football. They're going to run the football with Jonathan Taylor, who to me was the best running back in the draft, in my opinion. You know, Marlon Mack is solid. I don't think that his wide receiver targets are all that great, but they're solid. Michael Pittman, he's a good player. T.Y. Hilton, when healthy, is very good. And it's going to honestly come down to the defense. If the defense can become a top 10 unit, a dominant unit, you add DeForest Buckner, you got some solid draft picks that you've invested in. You know, the defensive backs are okay, in my opinion. Leonard is a stud. Darius Leonard's a stud. So I think the defense and the running game are going to be very good. But honestly, I don't see it because I don't think the Colts are very explosive on offense. I think they can be an efficient offense. But see, when your quarterback's Philip Rivers and you have to go through Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson in the AFC, I'm not sold. I don't think they're going to be good enough at quarterback. I think they're going to win about 8 games. You know, I think they can go 8-8, maybe 9-7, but I still believe the Texans are going to win that division simply because Deshaun Watson is that guy. I know Bill O'Brien is not a good head coach, but Bill O'Brien is not terrible. He's won the division in the past. I don't think the Texans can win a Super Bowl. I think they'll make the playoffs. You know, Deshaun Watson, in my opinion, is one of the 5 best quarterbacks in football. And anytime you have that guy, I believe you start at around 8 or 9 wins. So I think the team around him is good enough to win about 1 more game. I do think Tennessee's good. I think they're around a 9-7 or 10-win team. I have Houston winning the division just because Deshaun Watson is that guy. And while he did lose DeAndre Hopkins, he's got Brandon Cooks to throw to. He's got, Randall Cobb. He's got Kenny Stills. He's got Kuti. He's going to spread the ball around. And defensively, I think they're good enough. So my pick to win that division is the Texans. Do you think Rivers is going to have a good season? Talk about that a little bit.
I think he'll definitely be better. Michael Pittman, I was very high on Michael Pittman heading into the draft. That would be a good relationship there. If T.Y. Hilton can stay healthy, and then just having that offensive line, like I said, will be a lot better for him. And the running game, too. He's always relied on the running game. He's always been good when he has a good running game, like having Austin Eckler and Melvin Gordon in the past. So having Jonathan Taylor back there will be very helpful. And I know he's already got a lot of miles on him. But he's still, for the next few years, he's going to be a solid running back. I think Philip Rivers will be good for what the Colts are going to ask him to do. They're not going to ask him to be Patrick Mahomes. He's not going to have to be Patrick Mahomes. But in that division, Deshaun Watson is a heck of a quarterback, but I don't like the skill set he has around him. And then the defense, I don't really like the defense. I like the Colts defense over the Texans defense. And then I just, for some reason, the Colts, to me, seem like they're my favorite team in that division right now. And then, well, I really like the Philip Rivers signing for that team because he's already got the relationships built with a couple of those guys there. There's just something about that signing and that team that really makes me think that they could win their division. They're not going to the Super Bowl, but I don't really trust any team in that division to go to the Super Bowl right now. I get Deshaun Watson, the Texans, but I just don't. Brandon Cooks, there's a reason he's always moving around. Yeah. Randall Cobb is not himself. Kenny Stills, he's good for a few good plays. He doesn't have DeAndre Hopkins. Bill O'Brien went to the playoffs before, but he had DeAndre Hopkins. And I just don't know how this offense is going to function without him this year. And then the running backs, too. David Johnson? Really? I don't really like David. Lamar Miller is coming off of an ACL. I don't trust the Texans offense. I trust the Colts offense a little bit more. Philip Rivers is old. He's been inaccurate. But I think some of those accuracy issues has been because his offensive line was bad with the Chargers. And he had to make quick decisions. When you have to make quick decisions, they tend to be bad decisions. With the Colts, he's got a better line. He'll have more time in the pocket to make better reads and better decisions. And I trust that more.
Yeah, it's going to come down to if Philip Rivers can make those 3 to 4 really good throws a game, and he's got protection. So we'll see how he does right there. But yeah, I'm not sold on the Colts. Sorry about that, Caleb. But man, it was great having you on. I appreciate you for coming on the show, man. It was fun talking some Jets football with you and some other topics as well.
I appreciate being on. Thanks for having me.
Yep, no doubt. Thanks, man. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please also note that the Juice Alert Sports Podcast is not just a YouTube channel. It is available on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content with all your friends. This podcast is my favorite thing in the entire world right now. It is my passion. And I want more people to listen to this podcast. I really want this podcast to grow. Also, a fun fact about me is that I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I currently am a freshman there right now. I am looking to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. And I potentially would like to start my own network if this podcast really truly grows. Or if I fall short of that goal, I would love to work for a big time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. I am open to all networks. So if you believe in my dreams and you see or hear my passion through the screen, be sure to tell all your friends about the Juice Alert Sports Podcast. Stay motivated, you guys. Have a God bless day, and I'm out.